NBA Playoffs, top moments from Phoenix Suns vs LA Clippers Game 6. We have our first entrant to this year's NBA Finals. Sporting a 3-2 series lead in the Western Conference Finals entering Wednesday's game, the Phoenix Suns visited the LA Clippers with a chance to book passage to the finals for the first time since 1993. Behind a masterful, 41-point performance from Chris Paul, the Suns did just that with a 130-103 win in Game 6. For the third time in franchise history and the first time since 1993. The Valley is headed to the NBA Final. Paul shot 16-4-24 from the field and hit 7 of his 8 three-point attempts, leading the team with 8 assists. Devin Booker poured in 22 for Phoenix, and DeAndre Ayton recorded another double-double with 16 points and 17 boards. For the Clippers, Paul George was kept relatively quiet, with 21 points on 6-for-15 shooting. Marcus Morris Sr. led the way for LA with 26 points, but the effort wasn't enough as the Clippers were officially eliminated. Here are the top moments from Game 6 at Staples Center. Prior to tip-off, the Suns had a surprise name pop up on the health report due to a non-COVID illness, Cameron Johnson. Johnson hadn't started in any of Phoenix's games on this playoff run, but the valuable swingman off the bench was shooting 70% from the field against the Clippers, averaging 10.8 points and 4.0 rebounds in 23.8 minutes per game off the bench. After going a dismal 2-for-16 from distance in his first 3 games played in the Western Conference Finals,
Chris Paul missed a couple mid-rangers to start, but now he's knocked in 2 consecutive threes. They need Chris Paul. And Chris
Paul canned a pair of 3-pointers as the Suns ran out to an early 15-9 lead. CP3 coming in hot. But the Clippers' Patrick Beverley in particular continued to do what they've done most of this series, lean on their defense to kickstart their offense.
Never get out of the picture, fight to get back in. So he's on Chris Paul's back defensively, gets back into the picture and contests the shot. And then it leads to quality offense on the other end.
Battling on defense for buckets on offense. Booker got cooking with 9 first-quarter points, and the Suns fed Ayton early and often. The Suns' big man led all scorers in the first with 10 points on 5-for-6 shooting. Speaking of big men, DeMarcus Cousins closed the quarter with a buzzer-beating triple that banked in off the glass for LA. Boogie banks it in from three-point land to beat the first-quarter buzzer. Both
Morris comes off a screen, can't get it to him, out to Cousins. Cousins steps back, fires a 3. Oh, he banks it in! DeMarcus Cousins at the buzzer, falling away! 2 3-pointers for the big man.
Team shot well in the first quarter. The Clippers hit on 50% of their field goals, while Phoenix buried 63.6% of its attempts to hold a narrow, 33-29 lead after the opening 12 minutes. In the second, Beverley put Paul on skates to score a silky layup to give him 9 points at the time. He finished the first half with 11 points. Pat Bev breaks out the handles. Meanwhile,
cross court to Beverley. Beverley crossover, drives inside, layup is good! Patrick Beverley with some razzle-dazzle on the offensive end. He's got 9 points.
Booker got up big time for a thunderous dunk at the 5:23 mark, putting him past the double-digit threshold for points scored. Mom, can you pick me up? At Devin Book is coming alive and I'm scared.
Devin Booker putting his head down and attacking the paint area, finishing emphatically. And I love the love and support that the crowd right now is showing Reggie Jackson.
In a surprise twist, Jay Crowder led all scorers at the break, with 16 points on 5-for-8 shooting. He drilled 4 of his 6 attempts from deep too, after shooting just 26.9% from beyond the arc in the first 5 games of the series. Crowder's contributions helped boost the Suns to a 66-57 lead after the first half. If you thought Booker's flush from the first half was authoritative, wait until you see what he had in store in the third quarter. Flex on M. Book.
Booker uses the screen beautifully and flushes. Timeout Clippers. Devin Booker aggressively attacks the rim, and the lead is 13 for the Suns.
Well, this is explosive force. Takes the switch on and absolutely A ferocious throwdown, and Devin Booker jacked.
That dunk gave the Suns a 13-point lead at the time, tied for their largest of the game, and forced a timeout from the Clippers. In the same quarter, Crowder picked up his fourth foul, forcing Suns coach Monty Williams to give a few extra minutes to Torrey Craig. Craig answered the call, collecting rebounds, forcing a steal, and contributing offensively in his limited action. His name is Torrey Craig. But despite the salvo from Phoenix, the Clips were not going to roll over. LA buckled down on defense and delivered on the offensive end, putting together a 10-0 run to get to within 7. Denied by DeMarcus.
Cameron Payne's got Batum on him. 2.5 to play. Payne drives right-handed, swatted out of bounds. Cousins, and then yells at Payne.
Done an unbelievable job of understanding who he is. He's not a great defender, but he's competing. And he's not surrendering in pick and roll action.
Nick Batum from the corner, and it's a 10-0 Clippers run. At Suns 89. At LA Clippers 82. The Suns answered back.
George hits inside, finds Moore's extra pass. Batum, corner three. It's good. 10 straight points by the Clippers, and the Suns need timeout.
Back to close out the quarter, however. Paul took over for Phoenix, scoring the last 8 points of the quarter for the Suns to make it 97-83 heading into the fourth. Chris Paul pulls up from distance to give him the Suns' last 8 points in the third quarter. At Suns 97. At LA Clippers 83. Fourth quarter of Game 6 coming up on ESPN.
Paul with 4 to shoot. Paul puts up a 3. Puts it in. Chris Paul from downtown.
In the game's final frame, Paul picked up where he left off. After Ayton scored his 14th point of the game with a hook shot, Paul rattled off 6 points to bump Phoenix's advantage to 105-85. CP3 going off in the fourth QTR.
Chris Paul responded. Here, gets right to his spot, little fade, mid-ranger, and then snakes behind the backboard. Batum and Cousins have a miscommunication, and he gets the practice shot. The Suns are rolling, up 20.
The game wasn't going in the direction George and the Clippers envisioned, but he did have a highlight reel level shake of Paul to ease the pain. PG, my goodness.
The play is made because of the pace in which Devin Booker comes off of that screen. You can't catch up and get back into the picture.
Paul George, pull-up jumper, got it.
Paul shook off the broken ankles though, and kept pouring in buckets for the Suns. 37 points for CP3. At Suns in control, 5:49 left on ESPN.
Chris Paul.
Devin Booker's at half court talking to the fans.
Paul for 3, puts it in. 118-92, the Suns have blown it open. 37 points for Paul.
A flashpoint came with just less than 6 minutes to go, as Beverly was ejected from the game for shoving Paul in the back after the Suns' point guard hit a pull-up triple for his 37th point of the game. Patrick Beverly was ejected after shoving Chris Paul from behind.
Oh, what? I mean, that's as unsportsmanlike as it gets. Patrick Beverly losing control.
He said something, Paul said something to him, and he reacted inappropriately.
You've been chirping all series long.
Right.
Now's not the time to react that way.
After the dust settled, Paul hit a few more to finish with 41 points before the Suns emptied the bench.